to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We've got 2 green, white checkered attempts, 80% fuel load. So this is the opening race of the series. Just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile. Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. And across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season.
And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway.
Here's Dakota Floyd here. What do you do right
Look at the block down the backstretch.
You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrara's got the preferred line.
And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check. 3 wide for the lead. Ferrara is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Well, it's a reset of the points, and it's come down to this now over 10 weeks into the season, and the regular season has concluded. We're going to roll the dice here tonight with the strategy, the mile-and-a-half oval, and the Mojave. It's live from Las Vegas. Saturday Night Challenger Series live on V-Speed. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and back with us this week, after Jeff Wright makes his return from Kansas Speedway, we're going to a track very similar to it, but Jeff, it's a different tale as we have reset the points and put our drivers that had a successful regular season up on top.
Yeah, and what an exciting way to begin our playoffs right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Such a fun racetrack. It's fast, probably one of the fastest mile and a halves that we go to. So to be able to kick off our chase format right here, man, I'm just stoked. And yeah, look at the points reset here. You can see Dakota Floyd still going to be remaining on top. However, that gap is closed now. So 10 bonus points awarded to the regular season champion in Dakota Floyd. And then every driver that accumulated race wins, they get 3 bonus points per win as well to help them start the chase. Everybody else that didn't get a win, they start right there with 2,000. So they got some work to make up, but Las Vegas is a track here where it could get a little bit chaotic, and these point standings could shift dramatically by the end of the night.
Yeah, he said some work. I can feel it down there in 13th position, but you can see a lot of these drivers winless this season, from Austin Belkey all the way down to Team V-Speed. And an additional driver. It was supposed to be originally the top 12, but we have added, as you called it, Jeff Gordon to the chase here. And so an extra team on there, and with Logan Threlkeld and yours truly up here in the booth. You'll see Logan Threlkeld out on the racetrack for Las Vegas and Richmond. But we talk about some of these guys that haven't gotten a win this season. Now's the time to start winning, Jeff, if you really want to come out shining at the end.
Yeah, you can't have a bad race from here. 5-race chase isn't all that long. You have a bad week tonight, it's going to be really tough to make up all that ground.
And a look here at Las Vegas as we bring it up on this screen. This track opened back March 30th, 1996. It was much shallower banking back in the day. Track only had about 14 degrees of banking, but since then has adapted to 20 degrees in the turns on this 4-corner tri-oval, 1.5 miles. Pit road speed limit, of course, 45 miles per hour here at this racetrack. And the race analysis up on your screen now. 100 laps here today with 3 tire sets available, 2 green, white checkers, as we've ran all season with 80% fuel in the iRacing fixed setup. With that, though, it's time to take you trackside, get the grid up on your screen, and I'm sure everyone's really interested to see who's coming out here in the first chase race. Well, guess what? It's your points leader. It's going to put it on the top. A 31-126 for Dakota Floyd. It's his favorite racetrack. And the Heinz 57 finds the pole with Jordan Trass on the outside. Row number 2 is going to belong to Morgan Cook. Jared Skinner in the number 7 will start in the 4th position. Then you have Max Koss, Judson Curtis starting in 6th position. Logan Threlkeld will start in 7th, Austin Belkey in 8th. And rounding out the top 10, Jacob Locklear, Rob Dent in the 93.
Starting in the 11th spot, it's Stephen Davis. He just missed the chase last week by just a couple points after getting a penalty. Unfortunately, won't be able to go playoff racing, but he is in the postseason tournament. We'll talk about that a little bit later tonight. Chris Reed starts 12th. Justin Ritchie starts 13th alongside Matt Shinosky in that 31 machine. Bryce Shoemaker really enjoys Las Vegas. He starts 15th. Look for him to be moving forward. And Mark McFadden in that number 5 to his outside. Ben Laughter, he's live on YouTube tonight. Check his channel out. He rolls off 17th. Tad Dabney in the 18th starting position. Caleb Weekly rolls off 19th. And Hunter Sr. starts 20th.
Some of these drivers electing not to take a qualifying time there with Weekly and Hunter. 21st spot goes to Noah Mahalski. He was the favorite to win this championship at the start of this season. He's had a rough go at it, but does have a win. 21st start for him. Brandon Wallace, 22nd. 23rd goes back to Philip Brewer. Christopher Hodges will start in 24th and about his 4th or 5th start here in the Challenger Series. 25th goes to Benjamin Richards. Good to see him back out on the racetrack with Keith Shoemaker in 26th. And that will do it here for your field tonight at Las Vegas. Well, Jeff, we haven't done it for a minute, so let's go ahead and pick a driver. Who do you think has the goods to start getting it done here in chase time?
Man, it's really going to be tough to go against that 57 tonight. Obviously, winning the regular season championship starts the chase off here by winning the pole. So starting up front, got the clean air. We know he's been so great on these mile and a halves. I got to go with 57 here of Dakota Floyd. It might not be the most flashy pick, but I think if anybody's going to go out in here and have a really solid race, I think you can bank on that 57.
I like it. And of course, the banner's not seeming to work here tonight, so I'll try to get Trading Paints to work correctly. You should see blue splitters and banners on these cars here tonight, so not exactly sure what went wrong with that. We'll try to get that fixed. In the meantime, though, my pick, I want to go with a name that we haven't talked about yet this season. Maybe a driver that's not actually in this chase format, but I really like the 60 of Stephon Davis. He just missed it there. I think he's going to look to have a good day. I've seen him perform well at this racetrack. But here we go for 100 laps. First race of the chase this season, and season number 2 of the Challenger Series. Saturday Night Racing League is going to roll the dice into the restart zone. Here we go at Las Vegas. Lap number 1 by almost 0.4 of a second already. Clean air playing to the favorite of that Heinz ketchup bottle as he pulls away from Jordan Trask. Morgan Cook making a move to the outside for the second position. And this track with its reskin, some drivers argue that it had a rescan as well. Seems like it's changed a little bit on the driving line, especially in 1 and 2.
I certainly think so. iRacing, they say that nothing has changed as far as the track properties. It's all visual, but I don't know. When I'm out here, it certainly feels different, just a little bit. But how about some guys up front tonight that qualified really well? That's 63 of Max Cost in a bit of a new scheme here tonight, looking pretty good. Got the track position early. We'll see if Max can keep it up front. And he's been another one of those drivers that has been, a proven really good speedway racer. And anytime you can put him in a position where he could start up front, I think this is going to be setting up for a really solid day. So we're going to have to keep our eye on this 63 of Max Cost all night long.
He's biding his time right now, has the 79 and the 51 of Morgan Cook, who's finally able to clear for the time being. Running that middle line through 1 and 2, and Cost gets a really good run on Trask there on the entry of 1. But you're single file all the way through this field. I think guys practice this week, Jeff. That's the one thing that, you start the regular season, you might come out here a little bit more relaxed, but now it's chase time. You have to do that due diligence. Come out here, practice every single day that you have free time, because if you don't, somebody else will.
Yeah, and you got to really be performing at your best. As Morgan Cook slips up a little bit there in the center of the corner, he will gather it back up. And some notable stories here to talk about also just ahead. 2 guys that are on the verge of going a lap down. It's actually Noah Mahalski and Philip Brewer. They had pass-through penalties to start tonight's race. They both got caught for a restart violation, I believe, 2 weeks ago. They weren't here last week, so they are serving those today. And they would have probably liked to be able to serve those last week when the playoffs didn't start, but these are 2 playoff drivers that have been very competitive all season long, multiple race wins for both of them, but now they're on the verge of going possibly a lap down here in the very first chase race. So more than likely, these guys are going to have to kind of luck out with the caution to get regrouped up. Certainly not the way you want to start the chase.
And there's no guaranteed cautions here. This is not a stage-style format. As you can see, 63 to the outside of Jordan Trask for 3rd position. Gets a little bit loose there. How about this? Look at Threlkeld hunting for 5th position all over the back bumper of the 63.
Yeah, making some moves here inside the top 10. And I'd have to say, Bradley, you might be pulling for him just a bit.
A little bias.
Sharing that ride all season long. And you guys have pointed your way into the playoffs, taking the turn, sharing the ride. You guys got 8th in the regular season standings, so and with the points reset now, I'm sure you're pulling for Logan here to put you guys in a good spot here for these next few weeks. It's going to be really important to get all the points you can get.
So I apologize if we do see a little rescan on these race cars. I did restart trading paints. You might see them pop up one at a time here. There's the blue splitter on the 57. So that will signify all of the chase drivers as we slowly work our way through the field. There's 2 front blue splitters. Trash should have one as well. 57 defends his lead. We're starting some side by side back here with Judson Curtis. Justin Ritchie on the outside. 55 car up high, looking 3 wide.
How about the 7 too? Jared Scanner, relatively new to the series. I believe only has 2, maybe 3 starts. And he still got plenty to race for tonight. All these non-chase drivers have been entered into a postseason tournament, and they got $54 up for grabs, courtesy of FireStorm Racing with Bryce Shoemaker. So every single week we're going to have head-to-head matchups, and I don't know if we have a graphic for you tonight or not, but it's certainly going to be fun to follow that story alongside the story for the playoffs.
I'm getting a proper look at this paint scheme now, and I'm actually enjoying it. How many times has Max Cost had a cat run across his keyboard or his power button, his wheel, disconnect something? Meow Mix on the hood. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very fitting paint scheme for Max Cost, so good to see that out there. And he always has good paint schemes, regardless of what he's in, and it does seem like he likes to shake them up from time to time.
Back here in 16th position, you're seeing Ben Laughter in 15th, and the one of that's Hunter Sr., and on the outside, Rob Denton in the 93. Caleb Weekly just split off from that. He's at the tail end of this top 10. One of these playoff drivers that, well, I call it a playoff, a chase driver with a blue splitter, but a little bit far behind here for Weekly. And that's the difference here for those of you that maybe don't have the understanding of the chase format versus that playoff format. These drivers in the top 13 are all locked in. So it's not like a playoff format where they get eliminated every so many races and we narrow it down to 4 cars. These guys are eligible for the championship all the way through to the ending of this season. However, with the bonus points that the 57 car got to start this thing out, there's a 22-point lead over these guys from 6th place on back. He is sitting pretty and already off to a great start.
And that shows how valuable it is to be able to have a dominant regular season like Dakota Floyd did. Won the regular season championship, and that netted him 10 points. And on top of that, his 4 race wins nets him another 12 points. So certainly a bit of an advantage, but these guys are not going away just yet. Big send here by the 51 from Morgan Cook. Going to try to slide up in front of him. That is tight racing.
Off the drone camera, Morgan Cook will lead that time by as they look 3 wide for just a moment there. Jordan Trask will get around the 57 as well. Trask up to 2nd, and the 55 of Ritchie will pass for a position. P3 didn't quite complete that spot, but Dakota Floyd losing ground fast.
Yeah, just a really nice move, too, by Morgan Cook to make that work. Sometimes it can be so hard to complete a pass down there. You know, if the outside guy pitches you down a little bit or just gets back in the throttle, it can be really hard to clear. But now we see Jordan Trask clear for 2nd place over Dakota Floyd. So the top 2 have now shaken up, and I think this 51 is going to be a threat, too, for the championship. I know we talked a lot about the 57, the dominant season he has had, the amount of races he's won. But, hey, this guy's won 2 races as well, and we certainly could see him win a 3rd. And if you put him out front with some clean air at a track that he has proven that he is pretty good at, that could be a dangerous combination.
And I'm pretty happy about the paint scheme. I'm just showing all kinds of bias here tonight, Jeff, but seeing these guys out here still rolling in those throwbacks, excellent paint schemes. I love to see that Heinz ketchup bottle and then that Kyle Busch throwback. These guys seem to have some kind of stereotype with the paint schemes. They had success in them, so they continued to carry them on. And maybe the good luck charm with these paint schemes carrying on to the next week. Looking a little bit further back here on the edge of the top 10, there's Jacob Locklear in the 84. Solid top 10 so far. He's only down 1 spot from where he began this race from 9th position. Austin Belkey down 1 as well. The only car that's really moving through the top 10 is the 55 of Justin Ritchie. But Caleb Weekly, one of those guys that started deep in this field in 19th, he's up to 11th. The slide across the nose of Bryce Shoemaker. Here comes the 54 for 11th.
Yeah, some tight racing back here for sure. And Caleb looks like he's kind of, taking his time, trying to take care of the stuff. And Bryce really, I think, doing kind of the same. He started a little bit deeper in the field as well, and he's up a few spots. And Caleb's had a busy day today. He was actually on the box for me tonight, or this earlier today at noon for the Indy 500. So was a bit of a spotter today. Now he's driving Las Vegas, and I will say, guided me to an 11th place finish, and the first time I've ever finished the Indy 500. So that's pretty cool. And Caleb currently runs 11th right where we finished. So how about that as well? And also, he ran the Indy 500 himself last night and got 4th. He certainly knows how to drive the Indy cars. And so far, he's on the move here early at Las Vegas.
Continuing to put laps down from 19th position, catching up to Jacob Locklear for that top 10 last time by. Nearly, exactly identical lap times, 32.458 for both those drivers in 10th and 11th. But Caleb Weekly on board with him, and I think he's starting to get used to that equipment. He recently had an equipment change, a wheel failure, so he's starting to get used to this new setup and everything. The changes through the season, you don't want to have an equipment malfunction in the middle of a season because it's like pretty much starting over. You have to relearn the force feedback and adjust all your settings. And even though I think he's stuck with the same brand, as he's getting a little bit loose there through 1 and 2, even though you stick with the same brand, it's still a change.
Yeah, you'd never like to change sim equipment at all. I mean, I've gone through it, and it will take you a while to get comfortable. So Caleb has done an awesome job just of being able to adapt to the new equipment. It doesn't look like his pace has really changed at all. So he's been staying competitive all season long. And, you talk about that new wheel. Pretty sure Grandma Weekly one day aired him a brand new wheel so he could get back out on the track, at the time that he was missing his wheel. So how about that to keep him in the standings here and in the chase? Because if he missed a race there, Bradley, he very well could have missed it.
Yeah, we don't want to deprive Gmail Weekly any kind of action there with the Caleb Weekly machine on the racetrack. Been after to the outside of Matt Shinosky. This is for 16th position. 2 blue spoilers, splitters, and banners on these cars. This is a tough competition here tonight. Some of these guys that were inside this chase format are struggling here early, bottom half of the field for 2 of them.
Yeah, and it's a hot, slick racetrack as you see Rob Denton get a little bit out of shape here on the back straightaway. Looks like he's going to be able to gather it up and be okay, but some ill-handling race cars for sure, and the racing is definitely very tight here all throughout the field. You can see Justin Ritchie, boy, he has had quite the drive up here into the top 5, and now you have to wonder, after passing all those cars, is his tires starting to fall off and start to show some age. Either way, that's a lot of cars to pass early on, so shout out to him. To Jared Skinner in that number 7, looking to try to get 1 spot better here, try to crack himself up into the 4th position, but these guys are not giving each other a lot of space.
Yeah, I think that 7's actually defending that position, patiently waiting back behind them is Logan Threlkeld, getting a little bit better drive off of the corner to both these cars that are running side by side. And the longer they run side by side, you can see that top 3 starting to pull away. And while we were talking about all of that, Jordan Trask has taken the lead. That should be our 3rd lead change of the day.
Yeah, Jordan Trask is now out front. Dakota Floyd gets back up to 2nd after falling back a little bit there early. So maybe looks like 51 maybe pushed his stuff a little bit to get up to the lead, get some laps led. But hey, you can't fault him for that. Leading a lap, it's a bonus point, and we know with this chase format that every point is going to matter. So that could have very well been part of the strategy, that he wanted to go up there, get a bonus point, now maybe settle back in line here and try to see what he has for the long run. But looks like the 57 of Dakota Floyd isn't going away just yet. Looks like that car is kind of starting to come back alive.
Caleb Weekly now cracks the top 10. He's taking Bryce Shoemaker with him here on the outside through 3 and 4. Has a really good run off the corner. Will he dive it low on Locklear? He will not. Now he will. I was say, he had a really good run. I thought for sure he would dive down there and cut that tri-oval. He's going to stay up the racetrack. That's another thing. You said iRacing claims this track has not changed as he slides up the racetrack. Hold on to it there, Caleb.
Boy, there's just a lot going on back here right now, and It just shows how tight this racing really is. Every single position on the racetrack matters. And it seems like, oh, there's some possible contact back there. 3 wide with Belke and Stefan Davis. Try to see who else that was there on the bottom. But things are getting dicey here at Las Vegas, all throughout the field.
On board with Rob Denton and RSR Driver Cam, sponsored by Rob Denton. See, looked 3 wide there for just a moment. I believe he was one of those drivers with Davis and Belke. Up to 14th, or down to 14th. He started up in 10th, but the best setup, full immersion. I don't even know what to call it. This thing's moving in every aspect. See that motion rig there on board with the 93.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go over the bumps at the bottom of the racetrack in turn 1 just to see what it would look like. I know that's usually
why he's not doing it.
Yeah, it's usually a spot on the track you want to avoid, but just to see how that simulator would react, I'm very curious about that. As up ahead, looks like some cars getting out of shape.
The side-by-side continues as Caleb Weekly ahead of Jacob Locklear, and they're pushing up the racetrack a little bit sideways there as Bryce Shoemaker was trying to follow Caleb Weekly through this traffic. It hasn't worked out. He's lost ground to the 13. They were running nose to tail for quite some time. Hunter Senior on the outside. Locklear at the tail end of this top 10. 29 laps into this race. And look who's back to the lead battle. Here comes Dakota Floyd trying to pass on the outside.
Yep, gonna go up the track and run that second lane. Try to maybe build a run here. It can be so hard to pass here at Las Vegas once those tires really fall off. And, you know, in 1 and 2, I feel like that preferred line is probably about a lane off the bottom, or maybe even up a little bit yet to avoid the bumps. And then 3 and 4, I feel like after this new update, I feel like you can get away running the high side in 3 and 4 a little bit more than you used to. But here comes the move from Dakota Floyd down to the bottom. He peaks, not going to have it this time. Jordan Trask is going to cover it, try to cut off his air here, see if that will push Dakota Floyd tight or loose. You can see how much the air game here, it affects the battle for the race lead. And Jordan Trask trying to use it to his advantage right now to keep that race lead.
You can take that line away on the exits of the corner and you can defend really well, but through the entry, Trask is going to choose a lower line, moves up in front of the 57, and Floyd getting a much better run off of 2. Can't take it anywhere. When you go into 3 and 4, it's really about how you enter that corner. Trask does a little bit better job than the 57 with that dirty air. You can see Floyd getting a little bit loose, and we had smoke on the racetrack just now. We had 2 of these cars you were talking about earlier. I'm not sure if they caused it, but Noah Mahalski and Philip Brewer, they were on the verge of going a lap down. They've since started pulling away a little bit, and I think clean air is helping this 03.
Yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot because these are 2 cars that are obviously very fast, very competitive every single week. So I would say the threat of them getting lapped here is probably low, but also once the leaders, you know, if they do get a little bit closer, typically a leader doesn't have to deal with dirty air. And if these guys are in front of you, obviously that is going to be a challenge, but we might be seeing pit stops here pretty soon. It'll be interesting to see what these guys want to do. If guys want to split it into thirds or what the fuel situation looks like. Some guys might be trying to save, go a little bit longer. It's going to be a little bit interesting to watch here to see how this field gets shaken up a little bit based on the pit strategy. But right now, this battle for the race lead is not going anywhere at the moment.
You want to split this race into thirds, I would assume. I think that's the strategy. I don't see anybody making it in one stop with that fuel tank the way it's set up. But you're already seeing the 13 of Caleb Weekly. I think he's peeling it down pit road. 51 of Morgan Cook. A little bit of an undercut here. I think these guys probably go another lap or 2 compared to these 3 that have just come down pit road with Justin Ritchie in the 55 as well. I wouldn't expect them to go much more than 3 laps. There's one of them. Here comes Austin Belke, the 60 of Stefan Davis. A little bit sideways there for Rob Denton. Got a little loose entering pit road. Staying out of the racetrack there for Benjamin Richards. So there's 1 lap. We're probably going to see 2. And I think we're seeing the announcement right here from Trask.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to elect to bring it down pit lane here. It's kind of a weird transition here. And you always want to try to maximize that entry to gain as much time as possible. Looks like he gets it down to speed safely. Now you got to get in and out of your box. And we'll see if the guys that short pit, if that's going to be enough to be able to jump Jordan Trask and Dakota Floyd for that race lead. And if it is, how hard will it be for them to get back around them? We know typically it gets harder to pass here as the temperature goes down. We are in the afternoon, so track's probably only going to be getting cooler from here. We'll see if that comes to play at all for the battle for the race lead.
And maximizing he did to 57. Perfect on pit road. 107 degrees on the track surface, 81 on the air. They said it's probably going to cool down, but I mean, if they continue green, it's going to be difficult for this racetrack. It might only come down 1 or 2 degrees.
And you can see these guys that are entering pit lane, so well, gaining so much time, maximizing that speed. That's where races are won, especially if this stays green. The guys that can execute the best on pit lane are typically going to be the guys that are going to have a chance to win. You can be the fastest car out there, but if you can't get on and off pit lane, you're going to have a tough time winning. And so far, it looks like everybody's doing a really good job getting on and off pit lane. Haven't seen anybody really overshoot their box just yet. I'm not trying to jinx anybody, Bradley, but something you always got to watch out for, because that could really shake up the race and alter the finishing order.
Please don't jinx anybody right now. Please don't.
This guy's having a great race, Bradley.
Yeah, he is.
Nothing's going to happen here. He's going to keep sailing, running down some good lap times. And guess what? He just got Team V Speed a bonus point by leading a lap here. So good work here for Logan Threlkeld, the iRacing Santa, as some people call him. As it looks like, I believe that's Philip Brewer in that 44. Those guys are still really hoping for a caution, especially now that he's past the leader. Those guys really need a caution to get back into this race. The pass-through penalty, if this thing stays green, that is really going to hurt their championship run.
And there's one of the drivers with the undercut there, with Morgan Cook going by Logan Threlkeld. Threlkeld continuing to stay out. And now on lap 40 of this stint, he's going to get another lap or two led. How long do you want to stay out here, Jeff? I don't know what the happy medium would be. I know that Threlkeld had some troubles getting past some of these guys later in the run, but now he's starting to see some cars that were ahead of him go by. I think if you stay out too long, they're going to gain a few seconds on you. You got to make all that time back up. And it's very deceitful here at Las Vegas of when you're over driving your stuff or if you have a tire advantage and you're just catching them naturally. It's kind of a fine line there.
Yeah, I think, by the looks of it, he might just be trying to run this fuel tank dry. And, he's certainly losing a lot of time to the guys around him. I mean, you just see the speed difference of those guys going around him, how much faster they can get through the corner. It's significant. So every lap he stays out there, he is losing a lot of time. But, man, if he were to catch a caution right about now, he'd probably be the happiest guy in the field because he would get to keep the lead and go put some tires on it and then have all that track position.
Threlkeld going to continue to stay out. Morgan Cook would cycle out to be your net race leader as he passes Bryce Shoemaker. No Mahalski, who came down pit road, or hasn't came down pit road yet. The 44, Philip Brewer. Those two cars with the pass-through penalty. 03 still out on the racetrack. Looks like this time around will come down. No, he will not.
Yeah, I like the strategy call here from Mahalski. I think just running it as far as you can and kind of putting yourself in a position where if you catch the caution, it could really save your day. So he hasn't burned a tire set yet. If the caution were to come out now, he would be able to restart probably, somewhere in that top 5 and still not be at a tire disadvantage. But now I think it's just a matter of, how much fuel is left in that race car. He's obviously trying to run it dry. It's just how far can he actually go?
Well, they're just shy of halfway here. I'm starting to wonder if some of these guys know something we don't. You saw the split of a 3-way pit stop for most of this field. Threlkeld still out on the racetrack, coming up on lap 44. They can make it to lap 51. I like the chances of a one-stop race for the 12, for the 03, maybe even Hodges, as he continues to stay out as well.
Yeah, these guys are able to go quite a bit longer than what I figured they would be able to. So,
well, here's the strategy call, Jeff. He came down pit road, don't have anything in the box, but maybe Mahalski saves a little bit of fuel by coming through pit road like that at 55 or 45.
And if he stopped at his box, possibly top off. I don't know. I don't know if that would have been a something that he could have even considered doing or not. But
I don't think he
yeah,
did.
It's certainly shocking me that he's able to go this far. He must have been saving fuel that entire run, because I wasn't assuming these guys could go much past lap 40, and he's already on lap 45 and still not showing that he's entering pit lane yet.
Well, if this race stays green, some of these guys might be in trouble. This could have been the strat all along for a lot of these drivers. Grelkel continues. No, he will come down this time by. So plenty of time for some of these guys that did stay out that long, as Hodges follows him in to regain that positioning, and they will have the tire advantage. But ultimately on that last pit stop, I think you want to come down, as Mahalski will come down as well. I think they ran it completely out of fuel, like you said, Jeff. But the situation now warrants you're going to probably have to pit within a lap or two of these guys on the lead lap if you're Noah Mahalski.
Yeah, now, he's definitely going to be, he was going to be a lap down regardless of now, just because of how far he ran. But the biggest concern is going 2 laps down, because then you need 2 cautions to get back into it. And you need to be the lucky dog position car to get both of them. So I don't know if he's going to lose that much time, but it's certainly a possibility. But battle for the race lead now, as everything has cycled through. It's Morgan Cook in the 51, Jordan Trask in the 79 on the bottom of the racetrack here in turns 1 and 2. Very bumpy down there. It's going to be hard for him to complete the pass, but he does have the tire advantage here, so we're going to see how much patience is there in that 79. Does he just want to ride around, or does he want to go get that lead right now?
Little arrow block there from the 51, but he can't hold it down there, and the 79 is going to force his nose into 3 and 4. He will have the advantage going into the corner. And I think we're about to see another lead change here tonight. It would be our, I believe, 5th or 6th one. Yes, this will come up on number 7, actually, as Jordan Trask holds it down on the bottom through 1 and 2. Door to door down the backstretch, 51-79. And in the background, lurking there, that's your points leader coming into tonight, 57 to Dakota Floyd, who has an even bigger tire advantage to these cars.
Yeah, and these guys got tangled up a few weeks ago. Trying to remember what race it was. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, these guys kind of come together, had some contact. So be sure to keep the camera right here, Bradley Cooper. We never know what might happen between these 2 drivers, but looks like it's going to be Jordan Trask clearing for the race lead now, and Morgan Cook all out of shape. He is really giving it all right now out there. Dakota Floyd just kind of sitting back, and I think he was letting these guys battle it out. Maybe try to save his stuff and maybe try to make a run here at Jordan Trask later in the run.
Well, it was the undercut on that pit strategy, but because some of these other cars stayed out, Morgan Cook didn't benefit the most from it. He could have got a lot of laps led if these guys had come down pit road, 2 or 3 laps within the 51 coming in to the pits. But that wasn't the case. You can see he's starting to feel ill effects of the handling of those older tires, trying to keep pace with the 79. Not happening this time around as we go halfway through this event. Prime opportunity as we've went clean and green for 50 laps here at Las Vegas. What do you say? Chase race number 1. We go ahead and get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. This Get Loud presented by FireStorm Racing and the 79 of Jordan Trask, the 57 of Dakota Floyd, back and forth for the top spot. Take her back up on the right hand or left hand side of your screen as Dakota Floyd will get around the 79 machine. Another lead change here today, and a dominant car, a dominant performance in the regular season, picking up right where he left off. But we have a little break here, Jeff, and maybe that messes with some of these guys and their psyche. We've had uninterrupted racing all season with the exception of February where we had the 17th off. But now we're going to the 24th of May where these drivers will have another week in the chase.
Yeah, it's going to give everybody a chance to kind of catch their breath and mentally start preparing for those final 4 races. And you certainly want to have a great day here at Las Vegas. I mean, nobody wants to go into the off week and have to be, thinking about what had happened here if you don't have a good run. But man, certainly just a lot of good racing out here tonight. That camera work, Bradley Cooper, top tier with the onboards during the FireStorm Racing Get Loud segment. That was awesome. But I think we're kind of seeing Dakota Floyd as he actually just wiggles a little bit there, center of the corner. We're just seeing the strength of this driver right now in the long run. He may have gone a little bit longer than some of the guys on that pit stop, but I just knew that he was going to be really tough to beat here. And I think, really as long as he doesn't get in his own way, he doesn't have any issues with, pit stops, pit lane, that sort of thing. I just think that it's a very tall task to go out and beat this 57. Season 1 SNR Challenger Series champion, and he's looking to repeat, and he's doing a pretty good job so far tonight.
57 laps complete. Closest battle on the racetrack is back here in the 7th position with Jacob Locklear, Jared Skinner side by side. The 7 of the inside for 7th position. Jacob Locklear will take away that spot. And there's a couple drivers that we didn't mention here tonight that are really starting to gain. As you see Locklear, Belkey, Curtis start to creep towards this top 3 spots. The top 5 here for the 29. He's kind of in no man's land, a second ahead of this group that we're watching race. And then Belkey, who has his blue splitter. Tell you what, for the 24, it's just been a solid season of about 6th position average finish. And that's where he sits right now.
Yeah, certainly a great season. Yeah, no doubt about that for Austin Belkey. Won a race last season at Iowa Speedway when we ran the trucks. Hasn't been able to break through for a win this season, but it's the consistency that has kept him in the conversation most weeks. And, he did his job. He was able to get himself into the chase with a solid regular season. And running 6th right now, he is still performing. I know he wants to get up there and get inside the top 5. But, yeah, it's been a great season for Austin, no doubt.
A little bit of contact there between the 54 and the 7. Bryce Shoemaker pushed up the racetrack a little bit through 1 and 2 just a second ago while we were talking about Austin Belkey. And then the drivers that have stayed out the longest on this run, you got Chris Hodges, you've got Logan Threlkeld, and then you have the 03, who was on the verge of going a lap down. He's on the verge of doing it again. 57 right behind him here as they go into 3 and 4.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to go lap down here if you're Noah Mahalski. That would, wouldn't be race ending, because he could still get the lucky dog. Oh, as Dakota Floyd looks like he scrapes the wall a little bit. I don't know if that was some connection issues with the iRacing server or if he actually caught the wall. But
I think he clipped it.
Yeah, that could certainly put some damage on that race car. That could open up the door here to Jordan Trask to maybe run him back down. And you can see that allowed Noah Mahalski to get away just a little bit. But still, that dirty air is making it tough on our race leader right now. He is not having the smooth sailing that you normally would without lap traffic. So this is a bit of a challenge here for him. We'll see if he can navigate this traffic. I still think that 03 and Omahalski is going to be awfully hard to pass. And so if he has to run this out, you may want to consider short pitting just to get out of that dirty air.
Here's Bryce Shoemaker looking for the 6th position on Austin Belkey. 54 to the bottom through 1 and 2. Shoemaker has about a 5-lap difference on tires, a little bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, and a great run here, too, for Bryce Shoemaker. I know he really likes this track and has a good record here, starting in the 15th spot and has worked his way inside the top 10, and he is charging, too. We could obviously see him drive up into the top 5 with the run he's having. A driver I'm curious about that was right around him is Caleb Weekly. He was right around Bryce Shoemaker. Now Caleb Weekly finds himself quite a bit deeper in the field, in 16th.
Looks like he has a little damage too.
Yeah, I wonder if he maybe caught the wall or something happened, but you can see the rear of the car is not in good shape. So Caleb started way outside the top 10, actually way back in 19th, and we saw him drive into the top 10, and it was looking like maybe a threat for a top 5 performance, but some damage that he caught, we'll maybe have to go back and find, is certainly going to hurt him here in this opening round of our chase.
And we're riding on board with another chase driver. Just behind a battle as Logan Threlkeld works his way back towards the top 10. And a caution is out. That's going to throw everything out the window. The strategy, right around the time that we were about to hit pit road, we got a car off the racetrack, and I think it's Chris Rude in the 32.
Yeah, this certainly shakes things up. Chris Rude with a little bit of damage to that race car, but man, this is the caution that Noah Mahalski, Philip Brewer have been waiting for. They've been praying for a caution, and I don't think Noah got lapped, so I think both of them, Philip and Noah both, they are set. Actually, they're part of the accident, so maybe he won't get it.
I think he was still on the lead lap here, Jeff. I think the 03 had maintained that lead lap just barely, so thankfully for him, he doesn't have to worry about a free pass with the incident count. I think he stayed ahead of the 57 just enough there, but unfortunately, this shakes up the strategy for all these cars, and we're going to see everybody pour down pit road. Guarantee it.
Yeah, no doubt here, especially after that long of a run. We are just getting ready for our next pit stop, so this is like right on schedule.
This will reset everyone back to equal tires. You had some guys that had stayed out to have that tire advantage for later in the run. Not going to be the case now, as you see every single car in the lead lap come down the pit. 57 leads them in of Dakota Floyd. Got to be perfect on the box here. 79 of Trask, 51 of Cook. They miss the box. Trask misses it big time.
Oh, man.
He's going to lose a lot of spots.
That's catastrophic for the 79 Jordan Trask. He might fall outside the top 10 with that. See if Floyd can get out first. He will, so he will retain the lead. Out comes Morgan Cook. Battle for second. A little bit tight here. I think it's going to be Justin Ritchie.
Yep.
Getting second place. And wow, look at all the spots that Jordan had lost. That is really going to take him out of contention.
79 falls back to the 10th position, just on the edge of the top 10 here for this next restart. Dakota Floyd on that top spot with Justin Ritchie working his way to second position after those pit stops. Don't go anywhere, though. We've got more action to continue here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series live on V-Speed. More coverage of the second half, Chase race number 1, right after this.
Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, We can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.
Back here live at lap 69 with the Heinz 57 taking the restart live from Las Vegas in the Challenger Series. One caution here today as Chris Ruud lost control out of turn 2, hit the outside safer barrier, and spun down the backstretch. And it reset everybody on strategy as we put that ticker back up. Some of the drivers that started outside the top 10, they get shuffled through. We've got a lot of side-by-side racing through all the way from 6 back to 12.
Yeah, and with this, potentially, we could very well go green to the end here. We don't need a pit again, so these drivers are going to be pushing it here on the start. You can see that already, just the absolute drive these guys have in them. Everybody's pushing that car to the absolute limit, trying to get everything they can as we ride along on board here with Logan Threlko, going to slot in behind Bryce Shoemaker, and still having a great day here for Logan and Team V-Speed. They wanted to come out of here with a solid points day, and so far, Logan is delivering that to them.
7 car to the outside, though. A little bit loose there off of 3 and 4 for Threlkel. Bryce Shoemaker pulls away. A lot of blue spoilers up here in the top 5. It's starting to get competitive here for points. Might have told these guys that we reset everything as the 54 is going to get a little bit loose there, but he will clear on the 7 to slide up out of 2. Here comes Max Kost. Definitely has that short run pace. We saw the 63 fade out a little bit in the top 10, but here in this short stint, everybody on fresh tires looks like he is the one to go to the front.
Yeah, he is wheeling that race car. He was all out of shape there, able to keep it straight, but certainly saw some smoke. A driver trying to get all of his spots that he lost on pit lane. Right here, Jordan Trask was leading some laps here at the front of the field, but a bad pit stop sets him back. It's not going to be impossible to overcome, but certainly not what you want to do with a late race restart here, to have to go up there and try to pass a lot of cars.
Austin Belke looking for that 9th position. He will have the nose on the inside through the tri-oval. Here comes the 84 of Jacob Locklear. And bleeding spots now for the 12. I think he had the advantage there at the start of this race. Everybody was kind of pacing themselves, but now that they know they don't have to pit again, they're really pushing it to gain back what they might have lost on those different strategies.
And if this thing stays green, I mean, you will see some of the guys that burnt their stuff off start to show, like right around lap 80, 85. And so it's not just a sprint to the end here. You still got to pace yourself somewhat. But, man, look at that 03. Back into the conversation. Needed that caution. And here he is. That is exactly what he needed here to be able to really give him a chance to get up there and compete with Dakota Floyd for the championship battle. If he would have had, a 25th, 26th place finish tonight, it probably would have been game over for this 03. But catches a timely caution, and he is looking for more as he goes low here on the 12 of Logan Threlkel. Looks like he is going to clear him, and that will crack him inside the top 10 for the first time tonight.
10th position for the 03 going back up front. It's still very, very tight for this top position. And if you're second, third spot, as Max Kost has worked his way to the top 3, and again, the 63 looking really stout here tonight. But if you're in this top 5, probably, I think you're just saving as much as you can without losing a tenth, a second, a lap. And Cook staying right in that wake. You see Justin Ritchie, who worked his way up to second, starting to fade out a little bit here as Judson Curtis, might be the second time we've mentioned his name here today, looks at the 4th position.
Yeah, and this was quite the story for Judson Curtis last week at Martinsville. So I think he actually had lost connection, probably thought his chase hopes were over. And then a driver actually got a 10-point penalty for a late race caution, and that was enough to put Judson Curtis into the chase, actually moving him ahead of Stephon Davis. So what a turn of events here for our season opener winner at Daytona earlier this season. Hasn't been to victory lane since, but has certainly been consistent enough to get himself into the chase. And now look at him here battling inside the top 5, looking for more. But man, how about Max Kost tonight? He is really impressing me tonight, running up inside the top 3. It's got to be something with that new Meow Mix paint scheme, something extra. I think I saw some kibble flying out the back of the car earlier in the race, but he is on it right now.
Hanging right with Morgan Cook, the class of the field has been the 57, the 51, and Even mentioned the 79, who's trying to gain those positions back that he lost, missing his pit stall. Bryce Shoemaker to the inside. These guys trying to take advantage of every single opportunity that they can. The Shoemaker will look inside. Justin Ritchie, 29 to Curtis, will clear for that top 5 position and move on towards max cost as he'll look to the inside. It's starting to accordion back together from second all the way back to the 03 and 9.
It's just a logjam right here. I mean, these cars can't go anywhere at the moment. You got Justin Ritchie on the top. Just behind him, Bryce Shoemaker in that awesome Mobile 1 paint scheme. He is ripping the high side here, trying to get a run out of the corner. Looks like Jared Skinner going to close the door there. Almost some contact here between these two cars. But man, these guys are really pushing their cars to the absolute limit. And you can see Jordan Trask starting to move forward just a little bit. Noah Michalski trying to follow him through the field. And we know, for the battle for the lead, we know Dakota Floyd's been great on the long run, but I feel like this is slowly kind of turning into a transition of a short run race, but 3 wide here. Noah Michalski in the middle, and Bryce Shoemaker going to be the loser on this move.
Outside didn't work very well there for the 54. Had to lift out of the throttle. He'll go back to the inside. These are teammates here in the 03 and the 54. At least last I checked. FireStorm, Neon Auto, all these guys kind of work together. Number 1 on the hood of Bryce Shoemaker. And just a variety of cars that race in the Cup Series versus the Challenger Series. These are some of these guys that do back-to-back every single weekend. Michalski, Shoemaker. You could even throw the 12 machine in there for a little while. Some of these guys just put down 400 miles like it's nothing, Jeff.
Yeah, especially a couple weeks ago when we ran our longest race of the season. Those guys ran 300 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the guys that run Challenger and Cup. So that was a day's work for those guys. But look at this, Noah Michalski on the high side, trying to do a little Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson action, ripping the fence, trying to get a big run down the back. Not sure if it quite worked that time by, but it's just a bit of a logjam. Not a lot of places to go, but he is certainly trying to put his car in a position where you get a little bit of clean air, get some more downforce on the front of the car, and he is sliding coming out of the corner, but still going to gain a little bit here on exit.
Completely sideways there, riding along that safer barrier. He's going to peak 3 wide. Where does he go here? Does he go high again? He will into 1 and 2. Third line starting to prevail. You can see this track darkening up towards the bottom. However, you're looking at a track temperature that hasn't came down that much. Still 102. It's still very slick and greasy. And when you get up towards that outside line, starting to build some marbles up on that high line. 03 has to be careful to just ride that edge.
And Jordan Trask is going to get the position for 5th place from look to be Justin Ritchie, so he is on the move here. Now we got Max Cost and Judson Curtis battling it out as Curtis is going to slot himself just ahead here of Max Cost. So this has been a great day for Judson. Really haven't seen him much, battling for that top 3 position since Daytona, I want to say. So this has been a great race for him, kind of peaking at the right time just as we get this chase going. We'll see if he can run down that 51 of Morgan Cook, but man, I feel like without some sort of caution here, this could be race over. I mean, Dakota Floyd is starting to pull away now.
And problems for Caleb Weekly. I think he got loose coming off of turn 4. He's able to save the car, but falls all the way back to 18th position. Let's take it back on the V-Speed Instant Replay. Contact with the 64 and through the grass, sideways. What a save there for Weekly. Unfortunate. He lost about 5 spots on that.
Yeah, that was a wrecked race car, but good heads-up driving there by Caleb to keep that thing straight. And he will stay green. And any of these chase drivers, I mean, they certainly don't want to be at fault for any cause caution. I mean, that is a 5-point penalty, and that certainly could hurt your efforts at competing for a championship. So good heads-up driving by Caleb to keep it straight, but I'm sure it's going to be tough to try to limp this car home. After a big slide like that, you heat up the tires. The car just really never...
And we lost a little bit of connection there. I think we're back in live. Double check there that we didn't drop the connection entirely long enough for the stream to stop, but I think we're okay. And going live now for a whole hour on V-Speed. whatever the case may have been there with OBS. I apologize if we did lose that connection as we look at some 3 wide action. This is 7th through 11th spot, all over each other.
Yeah, these guys are trying to get sorted out. No Mahalski on the outside there. Bryce Shoemaker, he is looking for some more positions after, kind of trying to salvage his day. Having that EOL penalty and drive-through to start the race really set him back, but he is giving it his absolute all right now, trying to get all those bonus points. And just ahead of him, how about Jared Skinner's day today in that 7 car? He's done a great job since joining us just a few weeks ago. Been a great addition to the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series. A very clean, very competitive race car driver, fits right in with these guys, and he is having certainly a very good run up front. And I believe he's got Juicy Spider on the hood, so if that's any case, he's in a pretty good community with some really good race car drivers that I'm sure he's learned from over the years.
A little unfair advantage. Those guys over at Juicy Spider taking the Cup Series by storm here in the later half of the season. I believe they were 2 out of the last 5 winners.
And do we have a caution?
We do.
Oh, wow. Not sure where. I'm looking around on the track map to try to see where that may have happened, but with 10 laps to go, caution flies. All these guys should have at least 1 tire set left. So you would assume to see just about everybody pit.
I'm looking around this racetrack. I'm going to look around this racetrack from the eye in the sky because I don't know where this caution came out. With 10 to go.
That's why I was so confused. I was
on the
looking around
backstretch there. I think Belkey might have been involved here.
It's like entrance at turn 3. Oops. Oh, man.
Wow. If you're Matt Janowski, you're thanking the 24 for steering left.
That was crazy. But as this is all going on, we're got the leaders pitting here. This could be the deciding factor for this race. This is the money stop right here. No mistakes from these guys.
Let's be close out of pit lane.
Oh, just not enough. Very close there, though, from the 51. He's going to start on the outside, so it's a bit of a cluster here towards the back half of these guys exiting. But, man, if, there was one guy that I think Dakota Floyd was going to have to worry about having some really fast-paced, short-run speed, I think it was that 51. We saw how much he was able to get up on the wheel. And now that this has turned into pretty much a short-run race to the end, this thing is not over. I know Dakota's certainly going to have the advantage by being the control car, but, man, I sure wouldn't want to see that 51 in my mirror if I was the race leader in this situation of the race.
I wouldn't want to see anybody in my mirror this late in the race because you don't know what guys are willing to do, what they're capable of in a short, 6-7 lap stint, and that's when we're going to go back green. It's going to be just under 10 to go. I think everybody's going to run their qual laps for the next 7 or 8.
More than likely, yeah, I would have to say so. But it is certainly just about to get interesting here, so we'll maybe have a good time here to ask the chat here. All the 25 people that are watching the live stream, go ahead and drop your pick here in the chat. Who do you think gets it done here at round 1 of the chase here at Las Vegas? I still think, Bradley, it's going to be tough to beat this 57, but I think we are about to see a pretty exciting show, pretty exciting race to the finish. And let's not count out these guys behind him here in row number 2 as well. I mean, Max Costa's had a career day here running up inside the top 3. Judson Curtis, we talked about him kind of peaking at the right time. This is his best run since his race win at Daytona. This is just going to be fun to be a spectator right here, Bradley.
Going to be organized chaos for the next 8 laps as we go back green on lap 93. Floyd, Cook, Cost, Curtis, and Trask. On that top 5, then you have Hodges, Skinner, Shoemaker, Threlkeld, and Mahalski in the 03 into the top 10. A lot of blue spoilers for this restart. Here we go from Las Vegas in the first race of the chase. Does the 57 pick up where he left off in the regular season? Do we find a new driver into victory lane? Does Morgan Cook add to the third win of the season? Green flag is out. Let's find out here for Saturday Night Racing. Excellent restart for Dakota Floyd. Morgan Cook is going to fall back a little bit here. This is a time where you start to figure out what these tires are capable of for this restart. Probably trying to get some heat into them. Floyd's jump, don't worry about it here. If you're the 51, let him have a little bit of ground. Then go up there with some fresh tires and try to chase him off as the 15 gets a little bit loose off of 4. They're 3 wide going into 1.
And it's an absolute mess back here in the middle of the pack. And looks like Skinner didn't have a great restart. Now we see the 15 there up in the fence. I believe that's Christopher Hodges. See if he can hold it up there. Certainly going to lose a lot of spots here.
And all those drivers that had to weave around it, they're getting sideways. Here's Philip Brewer on the bottom through 3 and 4. He'll get around Logan Threlkeld, 44 car, to his best of the day. He needed that caution as well to get him back into contention after having that pass-through penalty to start this race. Same as Noah Mahalski. These two have been running nose to tail all night.
Yeah, and these guys are, man, this racing is tight. I keep thinking they're going to get tangled up on corner exit, but these guys doing a phenomenal job here while pushing this car to the absolute limit. Both these drivers trying to salvage good days after those pass-through penalties. A driver that's on the move, though, Jordan Trask in the 79, making a move here on Judson Curtis for third. He had that bad pit stop, but finds himself right back in the conversation here with about 5 laps to go.
While we were talking about that, 5 to go, the 57 and 51 start to battle for the lead. Morgan Cook looking for his third of the season. Dakota Floyd just looking to extend that points lead after tonight. He could do so. That dirty air does help the 57 a little bit through 1 and 2. Cook is sizing him up for 4 laps to go. A split with first and second, third and fourth, and then it's fifth on back. It's just a cluster of cars battling for the rest of the top 10.
And I'll tell you what, absolute nobody right now is holding anything back. As Bryce Shoemaker kind of out of shape here on corner exit. Tank slaps the wall on the back straightaway, able to keep it going. But man, this battle for the race lead here, I'm still watching. It's going to be tough for anybody to really challenge this 57. You might be able to get to him. I don't know if you're going to be able to pass him, though.
Might have to move him out of the way. 3 laps to go from Las Vegas. Hines 57. Caution is out. Jacob Locklear's around in the background.
Well, that changes everything again, except for the fact that I don't think we're going to be seeing anybody go to pit road. I don't think anybody's got any tires left.
I don't think I would come down even if I did. Track position just so important here for these last 3 laps.
Yeah, it's a tough break here too, though, for Jacob Locklear. He was having a great run. I saw him up inside the top 10 for a lot of the night. It's just, the product of everybody trying to get all they can get, and these cars come together a little bit, and he goes for a spin, and big hit. Ben Laughter, too. Unfortunate for him. I know he wanted to start these playoffs strong, and there's going to be a handful of drivers. They got some severe damage out of this incident.
Looking off the back of Logan Threlkeld, you can see, looks like Bryce Shoemaker gets into the 84 there.
Yeah, it certainly looks like his car came down a little bit. Maybe, I don't know if he was struggling a little bit loose on corner exit. We see a lot of these guys were really on edge. I mean, driving off that right rear and coming up out of the corner, it looks like maybe the car just, they just come together. And he scrapes the wall, too.
Looked like maybe he popped a little bit free as well. We'll back this up one more time. See if I can get a better angle. Here's probably the best look we're going to get at it. 84 pushing up the racetrack a little bit here. Almost a racing deal here, Jeff.
Yeah, it's tough to say, certainly, but it looks like Locklear for sure gets the worst end of that. Bryce Shoemaker, I think, catches the wall a little bit, so maybe a little bit of damage there, but probably nothing too severe. Now, if you're Dakota Floyd here, you just you want to pick the right lane for the restart. I guess who would you rather have behind you? He's picked the bottom, I think, pretty much all night, so I would assume that he's going to restart there as Chris Rude goes around for his lucky dog. He will get one of his laps back. But we only get 2 attempts at this, Bradley, so these guys are, they're aware of that as well. So only 2 shots to do this. I still don't think that's going to, tame any of this down. I think every single restart here is going to be absolutely wild. And these guys are trying to steal one here from the 57 of Dakota Floyd. He's been a dominant driver all season. He's looking for his 5th win of the season. It's going to be tough to get this one away from him, especially, man, the control car is such an advantage on these restarts. You've been able to see the ground that he can make up. As soon as they take off out of that restart box, he's already got a 4 or 5 car length lead on everybody.
We're going to pull a driver up into the broadcast booth. We have the 79 of Jordan Trask. Do you have a copy?
I've got a copy.
Well, Jordan, we have this restart here. I know we're going 1 to go, but it's going to be interesting for you. You've had to recover all those positions after making a mistake on pit road. What's it going to take to get around this 57 car?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's really got anything for him on the short run. We'll see. I'll give it my best, but yeah, I'm just happy I've managed to recover to the top 3. I was very bummed when I had that pit road issue and I lost like 9 positions, but me and my teammate sitting 3rd and 4th and just hoping we can see some contacts between the front 2 and maybe just get lucky here.
Well, this restart is oh so important. We only have 2 green-white checkered attempts. We're going to use the first one here. But Jordan, appreciate you coming up here in the booth with us. Anybody want to shout out real quick before we go back green?
Yeah, big shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It's going to be fun to watch back, and shout out to everybody at JTM, Joseph and Judson. It's been fun running all season, and hope we can get a good finish here and have a strong run in the playoffs.
So there you have it. Jordan Trask, JTM driver, looking for a possible podium. Still got a little bit of racing left to go. Good luck. So here we go, Jeff. It's make or break for some of these guys in the chase format. All those blue spoilers and banners on the top 10. I'm seeing probably 8, 9, 10 out of the 10 here on this restart as we go green, white, checkered. First attempt. Heinz 57 going to do it again. Another excellent restart, but Jordan Trask is going to match him here. Going to advance a position into 1.
Yeah, that was a great restart from him right there in 3rd. He's going to give him a chance here.
Caution is out. Big wreck in the back. Weekly. Rude. Looks like the 5 of Mark McFadden and the 56 of Benjamin Richards might have got a piece of it.
Yeah, and we didn't even get off into turn 1 yet, but with the way that caution fell, Jordan Trask is going to get up to 2nd now, so he will be on the outside row. That's going to slot the 51 of Morgan Cook to 3rd. But yeah, we'll have to see what happened on this restart.
Maybe some wheel spin on the outside there with Ben Laughter, and then the Tad Dabney nowhere to go. 13 gets into the back of the 56. McFadden also gets contact. And it's just a check up there. The accordion effect, Chris Rude, nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere to go, and Caleb Weekly gets collected in it as well. Was showing a strong performance early, but then kind of had some bad luck, and now gets caught up in another wreck. And yeah, they just never got going. I think that just that accordion effect on the outside lane, and oh man, almost through for Chris Rude, but then gets collected there by the 5 of McFadden coming down the track.
A lot of checkups happening here, and it starts up front. I think on the outside row is really where it starts. With Ben Laughter, I think he's in the wrong gear. I'm not sure.
Could have been a missed shift, something like that. But yeah, anytime you have an accordion kind of coming on or right for a restart, I mean, that's just hard for everybody to really, react fast enough to prevent something like this from happening. So just very unfortunate that happened. It looks like Ben was maybe trying to get out of the way after he realized maybe he didn't get through the gears quite quick enough, but certainly an odd situation.
That'll reset here and now put the 79 on the outside. That'll give Morgan Cook the advantage, and those are teammates for this restart. Of course, Dakota Floyd wants to win. He's probably going to be a little bit delayed with when he actually goes. Those are the games you play. You have the ability to communicate with these guys, unlike in real motorsport and NASCAR, where you can have direct communication with your crew chief, but that's about it. Here, you're able to contact everybody on your team. And it's kind of an advantage, Jeff, that we don't talk about too much when we watch these races. But these guys can definitely communicate and call out these restarts.
Yeah, and you'll see that, happen in leagues. You'll see that happen in iRacing officials, people trying to help their buddies out. And it can get them an advantage, but it can also cause some miscommunication on some of these restarts. But before we get back to racing, I thought about pulling maybe another driver in here while we got a full another pace lap to go.
Let's see.
Let's talk to him. It's Jared Skinner in that number 7. You got a copy, driver?
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, first off, you've done a great job battling up here inside the top 5 and top 3 at times. I know you're trying to put a good look on for the Juicy Spider guys, and you certainly are, and you certainly got a lot of fan support in the chat. So we figured we'd bring you up here and talk to you here. I know we got just a few moments here, but real quick, what's it going to take here to maybe make a big move here? I know it's going to be tough to maybe steal the win away, but maybe going after a podium finish. What do you got to do here on this restart?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be timing it the right way. It's going to be between Trask and Dakota Floyd and see what I can do, see what kind of moves. Hopefully Trask gets it going on the outside and leaves me some room to pull around Morgan and see if we can get this thing home in a podium finish.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to it. Good luck, Jared. We'll maybe talk to you after the race.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So that was Jared Skinner in that number 7 for Juicy Spider Gaming. Having a great day. He's going to get one more attempt here at the restart. Final one of the day. And Morgan Cook's going to have a chance here, as will the 79 of Jordan Trask. He's going to send it in on the high side, and Cook on the bottom. Floyd trying to control the lanes a little bit here, down the back straightaway for the final time tonight. And wow, what a race for Dakota, too, to start the chase off with a victory after he wins the regular season championship. It is certainly looking like number 2 for him is very possible. 67 laps led, dominating performance. Guys got a little tangled up there on that white flag, and that's going to be big implications for the 79 of Jordan Trask. Had a top 3 run going, going to finish outside probably the top 20. If I would have to guess. But man, Dakota Floyd does everything right today. He wins at Las Vegas.
Dakota Floyd led 67 of the 100 laps here today. Congratulations to him on this victory. This one means the world to this 57 team to start it off right as he burns it down on the front straightaway. And a little bit of a microphone issue there at the end of this race, but you saw it there with that final restart. Morgan Cook, Jared Skinner, finds his way to a podium for the first time in the Challenger Series. Making sure it passing tech inspection for Dakota Floyd.
Right, yeah, certainly beating the car up just a little bit, but man, looking up and down that running order, Philip Brewer all the way from 23rd. Gets 4th place tonight. Not a podium. We're not going to get to talk to him, but man, he has to be having a big sigh of relief tonight. That certainly could have been a bad day had we not caught a caution at the right time. But salvages a good finish. And Noah Mahalski probably wishes he was a little bit better. He gets 8th tonight, but certainly better than if those guys finished, back in the 20s. That would have been very tough to overcome.
There you see the 79 of Jordan Trask. All the way back to 22nd to finish this race. He came out of turn 2 in the 2nd spot. We'll back this up one more time and see if we can do it justice. A little bit sooner here. Here's the blimp camera. You'll see the 79 and 51 side by side out of turn 2. Just ever so slight contact here. I think we need to ride on board with Morgan Cook to maybe do this justice.
Well, we certainly know nobody's given an inch here on the white flag, that's for sure. Yeah, they just come together. And, got to be heartbreaking, too, for Jordan Trask. You talked to him just before we went green on one of those restarts and talked about overcoming, the bad pit stop and putting himself back in a position to salvage a good day. And it all goes up in smoke right there on corner exit of turn 2 here at Las Vegas.
Well, don't go anywhere. We have more action to continue live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series live on V-Speed. Post-race interviews and those final race results for Chase Race number 1 right after this.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back here live at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series has concluded 107 laps, a little bit of overtime. So we went an additional 16 roughly miles here tonight. Dakota Floyd is going to find his way to victory lane at his, what did you say, Jeff? Fifth win this season?
I want to say fifth win. I think he came in tonight with 4. This will be number 5.
So 5 now for the Heinz 57. We saw that contact on the backstretch between Morgan Cook. But Jeff Wright has caught up with your final race results for that top 10 with 8 lead changes and 4 cautions.
Yeah, Dakota Floyd, the dominant car of the day, gets the race win from the pole position today for race win number 5 on the season. Morgan Cook was battling up front all day long, had some laps, settles for second tonight. Jared Skinner for Juicy Spider Gaming. How about that? Top 3 for him. We'll get to talk to him in just a little bit. Philip Brewer salvages his day after an EOL penalty and a drive-through, so comes away with some solid points here at Las Vegas. Judson Curtis, the race winner from Daytona earlier this season, had a great race as well, battled up front all day long. He gets 5th. Max Kost, we saw him running inside the top 3 a lot of tonight, so he drops back a little bit to 6th, but absolute phenomenal run from Max Kost. And Logan Threlkeld for Team V-Speed comes away with a solid points day. Finishes right where he started in 7th. Noah Mahalski, also one of those guys like Philip Brewer that had to start in the back, had a drive-through penalty, gets a top 10 for 8th. Austin Belke got into a couple incidents. He salvages a top 10 for 9th. And Judson Ritchie rounds out our top 10.
Moving on to 11th position as we go through the rest of these results. Bryce Shoemaker will start 15th. He'll finish in 11th. Brandon Wallace from 22nd up to 12th, 10 positions gained. He'll finish in the 12th position. Matt Chinoski, 13th. Rob Denton in 14th. Chris Hodges, 15th position. Stephon Davis, my pick here tonight, will end up 16th position. A little bit of damage on that 60 car. Keith Shoemaker in 17th. Tad Dabney in 18th. Benjamin Richards, 19th. And Mark McFadden will finish in 20th.
In the 21st spot, it's Ben Laughter. Got caught up in a wreck late in the race. Jordan Trask falls all the way back to 22nd after getting going for a spin there on the back straightaway on the white flag. Caleb Weekly got caught up in a handful of incidents tonight, finishes 5 laps down in 23rd. Jacob Locklear, same thing for him, caught up in a few things, finishes 24th. Chris Root, more of the same in 25th. And Hunter Sr. actually lost power earlier this race and never got back out onto the racetrack.
With that, though, it's time to talk to your top 3 and a driver that I think the chat's pretty excited to talk to. We're going to bring up our 3rd place finisher, Jared Skinner. After this green-white checkered, our 3rd place finisher, we talked to you just before that restart, Jared, but now you find yourself on a podium, starting to get a little bit comfortable here in the Challenger Series. 7-car, congratulations.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it just worked out in my favor. I saw, I believe it was the 51 and 79 kind of tangle up a little bit and saw my opportunity, and it ended up working out.
Well, let's go back to the beginning of this race. You led a lap. You started in the top 5, but it was a little bit turbulent to start this race off. Take us through how your run progressed and maybe this track cooling off or maybe adapting to the line. How did you find your way back up here?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all started with a bad pit stop. That first green flag pit stop, it definitely hurt me quite a bit, but during that run before that pit stop, I found that the middle 1 and 2 and middle of 3 and 4 were where I was going to be the fastest. And I noticed that I was pulling away from guys and gaining on the leaders. And so that's what I stuck to. And I started making my ground back, doing the same thing just over and over again.
And ultimately you put JS on the hood. I know you've got a lot of guys backing you and putting this car on the racetrack. So due diligence for the chat and everybody that's out there shouting you out, Jared Skinner, anybody you want to thank for tonight's performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank all the guys at Juicy Spider Gaming Network and Studios, and I'd like to thank Splash and Go Graphics for the killer paint scheme as well. Also want to thank Nick Hapiak, Josh Adams, and Mike as well, helping me out in this race and just giving me pointers here and there, and telling me what was going on the field. I really appreciate the help.
Sure, Mike just said turn left about 1,000 times, but no, it's good to see you out here on the racetrack. It's good to have JS Gaming and Juicy Spider Studios represented here in the Challenger Series. These guys giving them a reason to tune in, because from time to time, I go in there and pop into that Discord, ask them, did you see that race? And they have no clue what I'm talking about. So, getting more eyes here. Jared, we appreciate your time. We look forward to next week, 2 weeks from now, actually, after our hiatus there next Saturday when we go to Richmond.
I appreciate it, guys. That was a heck of a broadcast. I appreciate what you guys do as well.
Thank you very much. We're just guys that do things, but we'll see you next week, man.
All right, man. Sounds good.
That's your third place finisher, Jared Skinner. After a recovery on pit road, he comes back for third, and now Jeff Wright has caught up with your second place finisher, Morgan Cook. Sure, some things to be talked about here for our podium finisher in the 51.
Yeah, I'm on pit lane here with the 51 here of Morgan Cook. And Morgan, it looked like you had a fast car all day long, got up front, led some laps, particularly probably pretty strong on the short run, I would have to say. It looked like maybe the long run is where Dakota Floyd and maybe some other guys would maybe kind of pull you back in. Take us through your night as a whole, and what more did you need for that 57?
Well, not as Bradley mentioned, not messing up pit road. That would have helped. I lost a spot to Richie on one of those restarts, and I never really recovered back up to fight Dakota. And you're right, short run speed was not a problem here tonight. This 51 machine was quick on the short run. Long run, they got me a little bit. It tightened up in a way that I couldn't really enter turn 3 the way I wanted to, and I just couldn't get the rotation required. And then when I did get the rotation, as you guys know, there's those big bumps down there in the center 3 and 4, and it would get all sorts of out of shape. So really just hanging on after lap 20 or so. Tried undercutting, didn't really work. Was going to go probably long there when the caution came out, but the caution saved me from having to make that decision. And all in all, a couple restarts later, and we end up in P2.
Take us through that final lap. We saw you obviously got tangled up a little bit with the 79 of Jordan Trass. Obviously, green-white checkered situation. I'm sure everybody trying to get all they can get. What would you say happened there from your vantage point when you guys came together?
Yeah, so coming to the white, he got a really good run out of 4, running the high side. He got to my outside, and I was like, I thought, okay, I'm going to at least be to his door on the exit. I thought I'd get a bit of a better entry than I did. I didn't. He was able to roll quite a bit, and then on the exit, we came onto the backstretch side by side, and he just kept turning across my nose. And I didn't leave him a ton of room, but like you said, green white checker, I really shouldn't have to leave him a ton of room. I mean, he had a foot on both sides, and he came across my nose and spun himself into the inside wall. Luckily, the 7 didn't have enough speed to get up to me. I was able to clear him down in the center, and that was P2.
Well, Morgan, we have a bit of a break next week for Memorial Day, maybe some time to step away for a little bit, everybody kind of catch their breath. It's been a grueling season, and obviously you've put yourself in a great point situation after Chase Race 1. Only could have been one spot better, so I'm sure you can't be too disappointed with that. But after the off week, we go out to a short track at Richmond. What's it going to take to be good out there? And do you think there's going to be any more run-ins with this 79? I know it's maybe, from the chat, looks like, maybe these guys thinking you guys might have a bit of a rivalry going on, maybe not seeing quite eye to eye. Is that in the back of your head at all, going to a short track at Richmond?
Well, I've never been great at short tracks in the Xfinity car, so I'm probably just going to be looking to finish that race. I mean, we all saw how Martinsville went last week. I got spun 4 different times and caught up in 3 others, so I'm not exactly setting the world on fire at the short tracks. But as far as the beef with the 79 goes, I mean, I'm just trying to run my races to finish the best I can. We always seem to be running right next to each other, which means we're both fast because we're always up at the front of the field. Um, he was clamoring about respect last week or at Charlotte. It is what it is. I mean, I'm doing my best. He's doing his best, and we continue to have run-ins. It's going to continue to happen probably because we're both going to continue to run up front. I'm not going to back down. He's not going to back down. It just is what it is here.
Yeah, and certainly going to maybe be elevated at a short track when we go to Richmond. Before we let you go, real quick, Morgan, anybody you want to thank, shout out.
Yeah, of course. Got to shout out the in-laws, Aaron and Michelle, watching the race. Gave me a text after, congratulating me on the P2. So I thank you for that. I thank V Speed, everyone who makes it happen over here. Bradley, Eddie, Adam, Logan, all the other powers to be that make this thing go around. We got some special events coming up, so we're going to unveil that here in about 5 minutes when I get off of this interview. So that's awesome. Got to thank the teammates. Dakota was a great help today. Richie is fun to be around. Logan and Benji were also in the chat here today, having a good time. Wish it could have come up one spot better so that Dakota didn't run away with the championship a little bit further. But it's going to be a tough final 4 races to catch that 57.
Morgan Cook finishes second tonight at Las Vegas. Thanks for talking with us, Morgan.
You bet.
So that was the 51 of Morgan Cook, and now we move on to our race winner. Bradley Cooper is standing by in victory lane with Dakota Floyd.
Well, the way you said that, Jeff, I kind of got excited. Race winner, and then you said my name, but it's actually Dakota Floyd. And another one here. You know, Dakota, I got to say, as far as the Challenger Series goes, you're starting to look a little bit like that Cup Series driver over there, adding your 5th win now. Congratulations on getting that ketchup bottle back to the top spot. You had a tall order, though, at the end. What did it take to get this car to victory lane?
Just keeping her underneath me. It was a loose race car, so as long as I took care of it and didn't overdrive it, I think I was pretty good. And especially keeping it in clean air, didn't really have to worry about getting around anybody for majority of that race. So I was able to just kind of pick my pace, drive it, and hope the guys behind me were overdriving and trying to keep up or try to get around me. So it was I was really happy with how the race went too, especially with how long green flag we had there.
Well, Dakota, sometimes guys get caught off guard with the amount of drivers that see that opportunity with the points reset. And when we come into these races, you know that you narrow that gap. You had a really good regular season, but now you've got guys that are maybe, 20 points back that could have a really good week. And if you make a mistake in these 5 races, that could cost you this championship. So you're able to overcome that here tonight and just capitalize on everything you've done. How does that feel?
It's a tremendous confidence boost. I knew coming into Vegas, this is one of my strongest mile and a half. So I was coming in here with some good confidence. Just keep it up front, even if I don't win the race. Just have a good points day, and being able to pull the win off. That's a huge boost for me, and I think that just sets the momentum for me for the rest of the playoff schedule.
Well, I got to make this comment. You kept it between the mustard and the mayonnaise all night long. You did a fantastic job in that Heinz 57. Dakota Floyd, another victory, 5th one, and the first in the chase. Anybody you want to shout out before we take you 2 weeks to Richmond?
I definitely want to shout out the team. I think everyone was having a really good race tonight. Morgan, I'm glad Morgan was able to keep it up front there and have a good finish. I know he usually gets caught up and stuff, so I'm really happy for him because he was really fast tonight too. So shout out to everybody in the team. Everybody's always super supportive and willing to help out and do what they can to bring everybody to a clean finish. Shout out to the league as always and the admins, and they always give us a really good place to race, and they always make good calls on what's going on the racetrack. So I can't appreciate those guys enough for taking their time out of their night to help us out here. Shout out to the field. Like I said, it was really good green flag racing there for the first half of the race. I know it kind of got ugly at the end there, but from what I saw, it was hard racing, but it was clean racing. And thank you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Finish it up there. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. I just want to thank you guys as always. V-Speed does a fantastic job, and not only here, but every league I race in. So thank you guys so much for what you guys do, and always give us a really good broadcast to go back and watch and see from your guys' perspective. And thank you to all the sponsors for SNR, and thank you to everyone that supports me.
I was just about to say, you've also got another chase berth there with the top 16 going into Michigan International. So we look forward to seeing the other 57 Cup version of this car go out there and try to compete with those guys. It's very competitive there in the Cup Series, but we'll see you in just about half an hour out there in Michigan.
Absolutely.
Dakota Floyd victorious here tonight. Jeff Wright, it was fantastic covering this race with you, and couldn't think of a better co-host. We've covered 99% of these races together. I know that I've had a week off. You've had a week off. I'm probably going to have another one there at Richmond. But outside of that, Jeff, what do we have in store for us here when we roll on to the very next broadcast?
We got some fun racetracks coming up for sure, but with the Dakota Floyd victory tonight, he extends that points lead. So I'm sure all these Challenger Series competitors are a little bit nervous. Can they make up the ground? Can they go toe-to-toe with Dakota Floyd? And can they beat him? And certainly making it tough on him. Win number 5 for Dakota. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy the off week for Memorial Day weekend. Hope you do as well, Mr. Cooper. I'm going to go get ready for Michigan tonight in the SNR Cup Series. And then, yeah, we'll be sitting back relaxing next week. But I'll be excited to get back to Richmond in 2 weeks' time.
May 17th, of course, as we go 10 p.m. Eastern Time in just about a half an hour. You can catch all the action here on V-Speed. But for Jeff Wright, Adam Baker, all of our co-commentators, all of our other producers, everyone that helps put this on, the admin team at Saturday Night Racing League, we're saying so long for Chase Race number 1 for the Challenger Series. You just stay tuned into V-Speed. We'll cut you just about 30 minutes time as we go to Michigan. Until then, everybody, stay tracking.